July the 23rd, 2022 it is. It is, well, it shows here 4:51 in the morning, and I'm so eager to get to the next video when I will be presenting you Ukrainian family. In fact, one of the, if you want, MK Ultra staff members, but this guy, this Ukrainian, he was one of the first participants in Poland, also a real participant in Poland, participated Hunger Games in Poland, obtained employment afterwards in Poland. I'm eager to get to that recording already for the past few days, and even more so I became angry once I paid a visitation to my father 3 days ago, encountering Slovenian guy whom director of mentioned institution for home for elderly people have used with intention to trigger against me prohibition of having a communication with residents in the facility. That is something I already have mentioned in 2 posts. One was on July the 17th. Father appeared dehydrated in home for elderly people. During MK Ultra, they literally aimed at, due to my complaints I would trigger, to transfer my father to another facility, to another home for elderly people, which would be difficult for me to access, and where the whole thing would come out, so that home for elderly people in a Novo mesto would not be blamed for it all. Evidently, director of Novo mesto home for elderly people, in agreement, in complete consensus with a mayor of Novo mesto, Gregor Macedoni, police, I can assure you, in front of me have inquired from the police, from the government, in front of me, literally in front of me, have inquired about, well, he expressed uncomfort about his facility as the only facility that would be involved as a home for elderly people, that the scandal would break out, and I felt all he would be blamed for. I have to say that this was the facility where I was tormented, tortured more than in other facility, and I also understand why other facilities that you see right here have engaged in a very similar, but not the same, torture procedures against me. Therefore, they wanted to share blame, fault, say, hey, collateral, collateral crime. Well, it was not only our facility that did this stuff, all through other facilities did covered up, attempted to cover it up for crime, for literally for the physical torture that home for elderly people in Novo mesto have engaged in against me foremost. So that's how basically they create collateral fault, and so then it's a blamed, shared blame. It's not so bad for somebody like a director of facility, employees, and so on. It's not good. I told you that this is gonna get in a not good mode with me, because it's really nothing I profit. I feel like with every step I make, walking around basically throwing away money. I lost 28 years of life on this Slovenian state crime. If that is something for country to pride itself, nation to pride itself, so be it. But in this case here, director of home for elderly, or I should say maybe Novo mesto police, Slovenian police sends me an individual who have conversed with me. Actually, he came to me and have conversed with me, whose daughter I have also identified went to study in England. Literally through this case, it was Prince Andrew who got her the first location in England. It was an internat, basically a shared student facility, a high-rise where students in London from abroad would stay, and probably also British students, whatever, and attend university from there. It comes to me even more so as a shock, because the trick that Slovenian police have triggered, and I'm referring to this very recording here, it's recording 533. Or many other recordings, for that matter. The length is 1 hour and 24 minutes, as you see right there, and it says it was modified on July the 20th. Yeah, right. At the time you see 1802. That's exactly when it was created, therefore saved. What I'm gonna say to you, this is a very, very interesting case. This man with this shirt, Slovenia approached to me. After look at that, I was done what I anticipated would become exercise. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pa ne čutite. Ja. Pogasni to šala. Ne, ni treba. Pustimo. Pa vendar. Stava. Tima. Pa če zdaj pa jaz tudi grem. Nisem rabila tudi. Super. Star 111 let. Veste, kakšno dobro zdravje ima? Ja, pa se zdaj gospodični pust. Ne, meni tudi. Da se vam varno. No, tako. Ja, ampak tudi če samo jaz tako, ajde še. Spozdal. Well, in other words, the day I decide I'm going to do some exercise with the father, because his overall general condition in the hospital tremendously deteriorated. He was nowhere near in a shape as bad as it appears now. At least that's what it appears. He had difficulty to lift hand, move hands and back and forth, and it's something that I realized. Notably, he had a problem with a right side of his brain. It's where they triggered the stroke issues. Therefore, the stroke side, which, whatever I'm gonna say, hit him in the past, is what they triggered this time. As a matter of fact, that's where it reappears. I would say identical, 100% identical health-related issues as it pertained myself. When a doctor-neighbor quarter play with immunity of the system, when he would go and he would beat down my health, when he would completely crash my health into a critical borderline with a cancer, and then he would start to rehabilitate me back on a normal level, and in between would be testing local products from the stores on how what impact those have on me. That's exactly what they have done with the father. Whatever they have done to him, they have created definitely a shortcut to a sensitive part of brain, which appears to be a right side of his brain. uh, they used whatever, kako se reče po slovensko, sredstvo, mean, uh, whether that was a drink, a pill, something they used in a food to trigger repetition of what they develop over time, therefore a shortcut like you put on a desktop to reach certain folder, a stroke issue. Like in my case, a shortcuts they have created for the cancer and also ultimately for the heart. That's what they were doing. That's exactly identical issue, it appears to me. They were playing with a father. However, with a very specific stroke related issue. Anyhow, if you have a stroke, if you had a stroke, the chances that stroke is going to reappear in the same place, I am really not a physician, but I deem are much greater than on some other part of the brain. He's got a problem, appears on the right side, and that's when it again reappeared. Just as I was doing that day, was trying to do some exercise with the father. Look at this. A gentleman meets me on my way out of facility with exactly what I presented a day earlier would take place. In other words, that they'll try to make things difficult for my father if I would, despite everything, start to look out for, to be on a lookout for him. Today is July 23rd of 2022, and it definitely makes me pissed off that I have lost in between 3 days because this stuff created enormous frustration in me. It caused enormous amount of problems with me. Talking about the gentleman who previously have conversed with me very friendly. We conversed nice. We became friends. But on my way out of the facility, even that I was trying to give him just my input on how I view this possible way out, basically improvement, his health improvement. He just returned back with a very, very aggressive, appear to be annoyed, aggressive, angry attitude, for which, again, police hope, I suppose, that I am going to return to one, escalate the issue, perhaps even state an individual who previously was in this very department already. This individual had promised, in fact, will return to this facility, return to this home for elderly people, where he would meet me over the course of the years to give me a proof that, in fact, strokes are can be man-made strokes. that these are strokes that can be produced, faked, uh, what would eventually place entire uh, the health system, professional health system, healthcare facility, uh, entire Slovenian health system, push one over the edge, on brink. Uh, for that matter, he claimed me during MK Ultra he would obtain something that would be completely irrefutable if I would only dare to say something what I stated against me. It would trigger from nurses, doctors, all the paperwork that he obtained, that it would be my word against people like this, that I would definitely, absolutely lose, that there is no way I possibly could prove. I am not going to even try to dispute this. I'm not here to dispute this. I'm only here to give my witnessing. Whatever you have done, this is really up to you. I hope the best for you. I hope that you did not really end up in a bad situation. Whatever you aimed at. But I'm not intimidated to the degree that I would keep this silent. He further told me and had brainwashed me during MK Ultra also in 2020, the last time. They did this part what you're about to hear on several occasions, during on which occasion, each occasion, it was a brainwash which involved a paragraph missing this time in this audio recording, with which I was brainwashed on how he would state during this verbal it's a verbal assault, really. This was no communication, no exchange, whatever. He kept very aggressive when I was just trying to give him my input, basically, just give him a suggestion. Have figured out that I don't want nothing good for him. Basically, the only thing I did was I avoided what police wanted me to fell into, and the trap really was to commence arguments with somebody who claims is paralyzed. His side, the right side, and again, I'm not disputing this, is paralyzed. That's something I don't do, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't go anywhere near those types of issues. I tried actually to calm him down by voicing down, agreeing on him all the issues, and the only thing I wanted to do is basically at that point in time leave, wish him a good day, leave, and never even see one again, even if he go past me, because I know he's a fucking troublemaker. I know that he's a accident sent in my face by no other than Home for Elderly Director, on behalf of police, on behalf of the city mayor, on behalf of Milan Kucan, Borut Pahor. I know Ljubljana. I know who sent this. I know who is doing all this shit. I already have explained what my father was used, what he became, a toy in the hands of police, in the hands of the Slovenian government. And so, what can I say? Missing in this conversation, and what I was brainwashed with on at least probably 10 occasions during MK Ultra, is a sentence which should contain, you were always the worst of them all. And what he meant by this, you were always the worst of them all, was exactly he anticipated the day, as I demonstrated in this audio recording, when I was be doing with the exercise with the father, that I would give him a gesture, because that's exactly what he did under MK Ultra. They literally related to occasion when you're gonna go out, when you'll be doing exercise with the father. He comes in, and because of the stuff they have repeated during MK Ultra, you would go logically on to demonstrate him, actually not even your knowledge, but give him the idea about what you feel, which is a natural response to a kind of issue, anyways, about his medical condition, on what he could possibly maybe do or try to even improve that. Uh, but that's exactly where the trap was. That's exactly what he picked on. Uh, a good intention with hope so that he would develop a confrontation with me. And the secondary thing, he hoped I would come home and eventually write down the sentence, again, which I was brainwashed on at least 10 different occasions by the neighbor Andrei Ul, who brought me to the hospital, by, I don't know, other people such as psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, police officers, security officers that they use, whoever brought me inside of this apartment. He would enter inside of this hallway in exactly that spot, and it was missing on my blog the day that happened, that I would go home and write down basically the sentence with which he brainwashed me. I have to write down, "You were always the worst of them all. You were always the worst of them all." And what he interpreted to me afterwards under brainwash, well, "You were always worst of them all" means that I acknowledge you, that there was something that went on, and that we know each other, that I remember you already from the past. And so make sure that when you come home, you post this on your blog and this and that. It didn't happen. It never gonna happen. It was just another police setup. And yes, they're trying to get me in trouble also at home for elderly people during visitations to my father, so that they would definitely either block me with having a communication with residents at home for elderly people, where I have identified a load of other people again. This kind of issues completely cluster your mind, because you have to understand that if you don't care them first, you're not going to see the home for elderly people anymore. Worse, when you go there, you can get yourself in a real trouble, because police is just doing setups on every step of the way. So these are the first things you have to take care. As much as you would want to go and demonstrate how you have identified Ukrainian and his family and this and that, you just can't. It's this kind of shit that clusters your life and keeps you inside of the room, eating food, and doing shit that you never otherwise would. For the people in London that were so concerned about my weight, control weight, and stuff like this. And so the only thing I'm going to do is I want to go to this audio recording, have this stuff translated for you so that you can see what desperate steps did Slovenian police, Slovenian government took to supposedly get me, I don't know how you say that. In English, there's several expressions for that. Zip my mouth, not communicate with anybody. They translated to me this under MK Ultra. When you see this, when something like this happen, make sure you don't talk to anybody else anymore, because they're gonna send you other people. They'll repeat the same thing and eventually will get you in trouble. So this is extortion. They also extorted with this kind of issues. They set several paragraphs on how to make my life basically impossible in respect to this case during visitations to father. And if only possible, develop maybe even criminal case. Watch out. You don't want to argue with the people that have suffered stroke, uh, paralysis due to stroke even. You definitely don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. And it would be really bad if you would be the one whose fault would be for father to be transferred to God knows how far from Novo mesto. Uh, give them basically reason of any kind for more crime. Yeah. So that's what this shit is all about, basically. Let's go. Let me translate this. As I stated, July the 20, 2022. Here you can still hear me doing some exercise with the father. It was exactly this day that I noticed father have tremendously deteriorated. The health of my father have tremendously deteriorated. I must also note, as much as I have written the day earlier, that as I noticed that the level of the liquid urine did not equal to anywhere normal amount of urine that father eventually should urinate from his body, on which occasion I did complain about to the nurse. On the next day when I came, on the next opportunity I came, I noticed a completely normal amount of, that was the next day, of urine. However, the urine, because the father did not obtain urine, and you could see his lips pulled inside, and next to lip you could see like skin that was due to dehydration. I don't even know how you say that in English language, but it was not straight. It appeared heavily was dehydrated, and father also signaled me with a thumbs up like this. He exclaimed like a thank you note when I expressed my concern. However, the next day the amount of urine was okay, was normal. His face also appeared as much in better shape, almost as normal. However, due to lack of liquid he experienced the day prior, the urine was dark, therefore still dark. You understand? Because he lacked, obviously he lacked liquid. I was correct about when I have written about that it was a dehydration issue that he suffered. He definitely did suffer dehydration issue. He got exactly the amount of food, probably even more than what he needed, and he finally received the proper amount of water, which started to clean clogged system, due to which color of his urine was really dark. I have actually video recorded that stuff. Might even demonstrate you during this video exactly what happened. Something that didn't make me happy. But let's go to this audio recording here so that I present you with this. After once I was done with the exercise, I proceeded to exit. The nurse worries about his age too much. I think she should pay attention really to other issues in this case. Here, I descend down the stairs and I'm about to exit this building, not the facility, entire facility, but this building. Yeah, it's the man that appeared exactly in the same spot as it was repeated to me during MK Ultra on at least 10 different occasions. In fact, I want to be really precise. In 2020, when I was brought, this man was so sure about how he's going to handle me on this issue that he even stated me that already was video recorded and it's just a matter of getting it done for him uh, due to weight difference, because I lost a lot of weight when compared to uh, departure prior to departure to Poland in 2017, 2018. Yeah. So because they brought me from this, even from the private hostels, not only from political asylum location where I applied for political asylum in Poland, this man was sure that everything is going to go smooth, everything is going to be okay. He stated to me, even if you're not going to say anything, even if everything is going to be okay, maybe we're going to use already the stuff that we have obtained on this opportunity. We're going to F you, basically, definitely. This is the man who claimed has had on a EEK location in a prison a Slovenian politician, Janez Janša, jailed for 3 years. I wouldn't bet in any one of these two. Not in him and not in Janša. Yeah, I know all about how the prison system works. I even know about the death certificates, how they're issued. So I wouldn't go into absolutely any of that. It's more about what the system needs than serving a sentence or even dying or whatever the issue might be. Or making people disappear and use doppelgangers or just Scotty Kilmer, a famous YouTuber, American a mechanic, have stated his wife would use video recordings he have created in advance once he would already perish and stuff like this. No, I did go a little bit maybe too far with it, but Slovenian system is hollow. Scotty Kilmer, when he witnessed this crap here in Slovenia, figure out that just about absolutely anything really is possible in this world can be done with a human being. I understand. I forgive him that part. But yeah, he did that in a recent video that I'm not gonna go over. It's written rest in peace, peace with you, whatever, by death, just as he promised he would do. I want to concentrate now on this audio here. Let's go. I'm the first to say hello, how are you today? And he goes exactly through that door, exactly through that entrance. He's coming right back inside. And he says, oh, hello. I'm trying to give him a hand. And he says, no, 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 I cannot do that because I am paralyzed. My right side is paralyzed. Ne, hrom tukaj, v desno stran.
Od desne strani nič ne čutim.
And I said to him, really, I didn't know that he is paralyzed to the degree that he cannot even extend me a handshake, I had no idea. The first time I met him, he rushed to me. Another thing that I have to say, on this department upstairs where my father is, where he is also at, he came to me as a highly recommended by the hospital. If nobody else is going to do it, this is the guy who's going to get it done for you. This is the guy who's going to get it done. First time when he got in there, they have like something that you can hold yourself like this and then lift yourself down, up like gymnasts have, right there in the kitchen area. And he was the one who was sporting himself on that stuff. He is a yoga trainer. Um, he knows a lot about the yoga stuff like this, very sporty and so on. So he was the one who gave me the MK Ultra impression how important the exercise is. That you have to just push yourself, do your stuff, yoga, train back and forth. Now he's giving me a completely different impression. Now he is, I can't even extend you the hand to handshake because I'm paralyzed on my right side of the body, basically.
Desno roka. Ne morem. Ne...
So I asked him, can you please tell me what area of your right side exactly is paralyzed when it comes to your hand? What exactly? I really want to know specifically if I can maybe give him maybe some idea about what I would try or something like that.
Ja, od komolca naprej.
Od komolca
Ja, naprej, ja, a ste doktor?
And he tells me from elbows on, up, higher, there is nothing I can feel. Then he asked me if I'm a physician. And, well, I tell him I know something a little about it, but definitely I'm not a physician.
Kak me zadeva?
He said, I had a stroke.
Ja,
V možganih je problem.
točno tako, tu sem hotel.
Ja.
He says to me, it's in the brain where the problem is. And I said that that's exactly what I was going to say. You see, I was observing my father, and I came to realize that my father had the right side sort of vision impaired. And I kind of figure out that it would be good if I would ask him, when exactly, at least, if we would do this kind of exercise and try to stimulate brain, what exactly, or, corridor or whatever, I don't know how you would specify, coordinates distance that he can observe, and then we would probably do some kind of exercise probably without with keeping his head probably in a certain direction, something that would help him out to somehow faster basically restore his mind control over stroke issues, if only possible, right? So I was trying to give this man an idea of what I would try myself if something like this would have happened to me. But he is using opportunity to express gratitude in a very, very unusual way, which probably a lot of people would also settle, and if nothing other, probably would lash at one back. Hey, why are you yelling at me, or something like this, or because that's where the idea was. And I'm just not a guy that goes through this kind of stuff. For director of police, director of this home for elderly institution, a mayor here from the Novo mesto, people who tortured. It's not in my interest to portray them as victims, rather than assailants, rather than people who ruined my life. This is not in my interest.
In kar bi jaz delal,
Ja.
kar bi jaz počel,
Ja.
eno vajo,
So it's a very simple. I'm trying to say to him, I feel that if you got a stroke, if you got paralyzed your right hand, And I was asked about this, what would you do if you would do this? And then I was told, we're gonna see when you will be paralyzed. That's what the neighbor Andreul told me. That's how they told me this thing. That's how they do it. I pretty much told them I have no idea. What I would do is I would make myself a dot somewhere with this kind of system and on the wall or whatever, and then what I would try to do if I would paralyze, since this would be the portion of the body that would be paralyzed, I would try to move my hand to this dots. Basically, I would try to learn my brain coordinates, train my brain to rehabilitate itself fast as possible. That's a game with a Satan, I think, myself. Uh, when I consider that a pill, maybe even a certain type of food, can restore your medical condition to a stroke level of the stroke within like a split of a second. That's terrible, man. That's like investing something like Andre Ul told me during MK Ultra. We're gonna see how that's gonna be, how you're gonna do that stuff when your turn comes. That's a very bad promise, Mr. Neighbor Andre Ul. That's a filthy fucking nasty stuff to tell somebody you tortured. And by the way, somebody you have awarded with the cancer with your neighbor Andre, actually Igor Kotar. That's a really, I don't understand it. These people here in Slovenia is like a I don't know what the fuck this shit is really. I don't understand really this kind of stuff, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want the ambulance vehicle to come to pick me up. But you probably understand my feelings, what kind of feelings I have about these people. Under MK Ultra, I threatened them, we'll go pick them up at their homes. And it's actually what they hoped for. You don't understand these issues. This is not a love song with these people. These people did tremendous crimes. A play like this, for a lot of people, have proven to be lethal. When the neighbor here, Dane Collins, tested me tasers, they would bring me to him repeatedly, so he tested tasers on me. It was exactly the Ukrainian guy I'm gonna get next who came to Slovenia and wiped his ass as early as in 1998. This was one of the first MK Ultra participants. I was looking so much, I'm looking forward to give the video about him. For which matter, Director of Police Janez Ogolin, now Director of Police, Anton Olaj went after him and wanted to even jail one, not only prohibit one from ever again entering in a country, which they couldn't do because he was involved in MK Ultra case. I know the people that will confirm this stuff, the shit that was done to me by the neighbors. There is people who know about here and there and have seen the stuff real time about what the fuck went on. This is not a love song. These neighbors here I have, this is not a love song. People walked inside of this house with revolvers, with guns, with taser guns. It was all kinds of stuff that went on in here.
Цементу збудили.
So I tried to give him an idea. What I would do is I would take, for instance, I tell him, I would write myself a dots on a wall, and I would try to move my hand to see if that part of the arm, hand, whatever it is, paralyzed, with repetition of this wheel, if I can get one going. And when I try to even give him advice, he rushes with statement, I'm doing exercise. I'm doing exercise.
Veste kako?
Jaz sem učitelj hatha yoga.
I'm a teacher of the yoga teacher. He tells me about some kind of yoga.
In rehearsal yoga.
Veste kaj bi naredil?
And I say to him, you know what I would do? Because he doesn't allow me to tell basically what I would do. He says no. And when I say, you know what I would do? And he says, no.
Yoga pomaga,
He says, what? He says.
ampak je pa še ena druga stvar, ki še
I tell him, you know, yoga helps tremendously. Yeah, yoga helps tremendously, but in my opinion, physical exercise, a will, even training for will, helps enormously. And the best training for will, in my opinion, actually is a physical exercise. Even if the body quits on you, whatever it is the issue, the physical exercise basically is the one that brings the will back. But he doesn't allow me to absolutely say anything to him.
bolj pomaga.
Kaj?
Zaradi tega, ker
So I give him right. I give him, what I want to do is first I want to gain traction. I want him to acknowledge I'm on his side. So I say, yes, yoga helps tremendously.
si v možganu vse je kado, ne?
Ja.
And I say, you know, because you have injury, a brain injury,
Bi začel, se pravi, ponovno bi začel razvijati
Kaj?
sposobnost,
so I'm trying to say to him, again is what I would try to develop brain's ability, basically.
naredil bi si tako, da bi si naredil.
I give him a module, an idea what I would do. I point at the wall, basically.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tako da bi si
6 dots, let's say, on the wall.
naredil model
Ja.
in bi točno s to roko, ki je ne morem,
And with a hand which is paralyzed, I'm not capable to move.
premikal, da me zastopa, ki je hroma, bi probal,
Hvala lepa. Hvala lepa.
ne bi šlo to, da bi rekel,
Poglejte.
veste kaj bi
He says, exercise, do exercise. And he doesn't actually allow me to finish this. So he stops me right there. And he goes on and he says, look.
Moja diagnoza, a vam
Ja,
povem, moja
no, vedel,
diagnoza.
He says, can I tell you about my diagnosis? Can I tell you? And I say, yes, please, go ahead.
Moja diagnoza je, da sem najboljša voziči.
My diagnosis is that I am listed for a wheelchair.
To so vsi doktorji rekli. Je
All the physicians came to a same conclusion that my life, I am listed for a wheelchair.
Jaz sem bil v
Ja.
Indian centru en
Ja,
mesec in
ja, ja.
sem
And I say to him, yes. I confirm everything he say. Yeah, I give him sympathy, basically. I sympathize with one.
niti govoril.
I was at the clinical center. I was not capable to even talk. Now he's really loud. He becomes really vocal.
Me zastop,
I understand that. And he asked me, do you understand this?
Nisem mogel niti govoriti.
nisem
So I said, you were not even able to speak. I see.
govoril, sem pa telovadil.
I was not capable to even talk, but I exercised.
Ja.
Ja.
And I said to him, yes, exercise.
Vadba je super.
I told him, exercise is the best.
A ste gledali jogo, ki jo poučujem?
Ne, nisem še pogledal.
Tisto vajo,
Nisem še pogledal, ker imam
He asked me if I did go over his website, yoga website, and I excused him. I told him, no, I did not, because I had so many things, important things I have to put on the internet.
take stvari, nisem nekaj
Glej.
zgodil.
glejte,
Ja.
jaz imam diagnozo, da ne bi nič več nikoli v življenju hodil.
Mora.
And becomes again loud. I have a diagnosis which claims never in my life I should even walk again.
A me zastop
Ja,
da.
ja.
Do you understand me? And I go, yes. I try to calm down because I already know where the whole thing is going.
Jaz hodim po čudežih, zato ker sem sam telovadil.
I walk thanks to the miracles because I exercised on my own.
Una terapeutka tam, ki sem se čudil,
Glejte,
He says the therapists in the hospital, they were shocked when they saw me. And what I'm trying to say to him is actually, yeah, you're right, and I'm trying to go my way. But this guy goes like, ugh, in a way like, ugh, what do you know? Or basically to me, more like, leave me alone, basically. And that's what the hell I want to do. What I want to establish at this point is, yeah, you are absolutely right, and I want to go my way. But check this out.
pameten ste.
You are too smart.
jaz nočem biti
Več ste
pameten.
pameten, kot pa jaz. Jaz sem
You are smarter than I am, is what he says to me.
Jaz hočem,
A veste, kjer vajo leže delam?
I said to him, no, listen, you got me all wrong. And he continues. He continues to me with, do you know what exercise I do now?
jaz vam prav
Če
dam.
jo ti
I repeat to him, listen, I'm on your side. I completely agree with you. I give you right. I agree with you.
isto vajo ne bi delal, ne bi nikoli hodil.
And he continues, if I wouldn't do that exercise, I would have never walked again.
Ampak jaz nisem pameten, jaz se ne delam
Ja,
pameten.
vi ste najbolj pametni, no, vi veste, kaj jaz, ja.
He says to me now that goes very close to the paragraph with which he brainwashed me during MK Ultra. However, this is not the paragraph. He does not repeat what I stated earlier. He repeated to me during MK Ultra, I must write at least on the blog, that he identified me by statement in which he specified that I was always the smartest one of them. And that's exactly not what he states. He says,
Ampak jaz nisem pameten, jaz se ne delam
Ja,
pameten.
vi ste
I am not the one, I tell him. Sorry, I am not the one who is trying to look smart here. And he goes and says,
najbolj pametni, no.
you are the smartest one.
No, vi veste, kaj jaz, ja.
You are the one who knows what I should have done, and so on and so forth. He never, however, mentions the part, you are the smartest one of them. So,
Lep dan želim.
the only thing I do is, I don't go into absolutely any arguments with him, and I say to him, I wish you a very pleasant rest of the day. That's all I do. And I want to go out.
Vem jaz
He says, I know, he says,
če ne bi to delal,
if I wouldn't be doing this,
kar delam,
what I am doing
vsako jutro,
every morning,
trikrat na dan,
3 times a day,
telovadbo v postelji, ne bi nikoli
with exercise inside of the bed,
hodil.
I would never walk again.
Vi to ne veste.
You don't know this, is what he says to me.
Jaz tega nisem rekel, da ne.
And the only thing I say to him back is, I have never said that what you have stated is not true.
Ja, hvala lepa.
And he goes, well, he says, thank you very much.
Ne, ste vse tista vaja,
Pa tudi ničesar slabega.
And I tell him, and it's also nothing bad I wanted for you.
še vaje ne bi mogel delati.
Pa tudi ničesar slabega vam ne želim. Lep
He says, again he screams, start to scream. And if I wouldn't do this, I couldn't do absolutely any exercise. And I said to him, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, I tell him, and I go my way. For me, this is it. This is it. And he goes on. He continues to go on. I don't know what he's up to next. I go out. I go my way, basically. I walk away. I'm not into any kind of, I'm gonna say, mind games with psychiatrists, police involved in this case. For me, this is done deal. I'm done with it. However, according to MK Ultra scenario, according to him, I should be actually really, really afraid of him even when I see him walking down the hallway whenever I come for a visit to my father. This is completely fucked up. And that's why, again, I missed 3 days of visiting my father, basically. This is how it's actually done. But there you have it. There is nothing I can do because of the stuff they're doing. So, that much about the last Father's Day. What I am gonna do, I'm gonna post few links right down below. Make sure you see. And hey, I don't even know about translating how I identify his daughter and stuff like this, and in Ljubljana and stuff like this. Actually, because for me personally, this is like a waste of fucking time. I got a really important people that I have identified that are eager for their witnessing to come up on the internet, and for me to go about the stuff like this is actually kind of really waste of time. The only thing I'm gonna do is this at this point in Slovenian language. I'm just gonna play you over the whole thing again, and I'm not gonna bother to post this shit into any section below the video because this is a really waste of time. But this did took place on July the 20th, 2022. Guess what? I'm gonna have to go sleep today, but the voice recording about Ukrainian family, about the man involved, one of the earliest MK Ultra staff members involved in this case from Ukraine, is coming as next today. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play you this audio recording one more time for you to hear. There's just a lot of work to do, and this here just really obstruct otherwise productive work, and it's counterproductive, and it raises attentions and stuff like this for something that should never even be the case. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time.
Ja ne morem hram sem v desno stran.
Ne, hrom ste tukaj, v desno stran.
Od desne stran nič ne čutim. Desno roko. Ne morem.
Od kje do kje pa ne čutite?
Ja, od komolca naprej.
Od komolca
Ja, naprej, ja, a ste doktor?
Marsikaj je. Vedno mi bo vedeti, od komolca gor.
Kaj prej zadela?
Ja,
V možganih je problem.
točno tako, tu sem hotel.
Ja.
In kar bi jaz delal,
Ja,
kar bi jaz počel,
ja.
eno vajo, če bi se meni to zgodilo,
Vsi izdelam moje.
Ja, pa veste kaj?
Jaz sem učitelj hatha joge, bhakti joge in raja joge.
Veste kaj bi naredil?
Kaj?
Joga pomaga, ampak je pa še ena druga stvar, ki še bolj pomaga.
Kaj?
Zaradi tega, ker vas je v možganu vsekalo, ne?
Ja.
Bi začel, se pravi, ponovno bi začel razvijati
Kaj?
sposobnost. Naredil bi si takole bi si naredil 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, takole bi si naredil model.
Ja.
In bi točno s to roko, ki je ne morem premikati na zastope, ki je hroma, bi probal,
Hvala lepa, hvala lepa.
ne bi šlo to, da bi rekel,
Poglejte.
veste kaj bi naredil?
Moja diagnoza, a vam
Ja,
povem,
prosim.
moja diagnoza je, da sem najboljša v vsiči. To so vsi doktorji rekli. Jaz sem bil v kliničnem centru en mesec, nisem niti govoril. Zastopte.
Niste mogli niti govoriti.
Nisem govoril, sem pa telovadil.
Ja, telovadba je super.
A ste vedeli jogo, ki jo poučujem?
Ne, nisem še pogledal.
Tisto vajo,
Nisem še pogledal, ker imam take stvari, nisem nekaj vrde.
Glejte,
Ja.
jaz imam diagnozo, da ne bi nič več nikoli v življenju hodil.
Morate.
A me zastopite? Jaz hodim po čudežih, zato ker sem sam telovadil. Ona terapeutka tam, ki sem vas se čudil,
Glejte,
ja, pameten ste.
jaz nočem biti
Več ste
pameten.
pameten, kot pa jaz.
Jaz hočem,
A veste, kjer vajo leže delam?
jaz vam prav dam.
Če jo tisto vajo ne bi delal, ne bi nikoli hodil.
Ampak jaz nisem pameten, jaz se ne delam pameten.
Ja, vi ste najbolj pametni, no, vi veste, kaj jaz, ja.
Lep dan želim.
Vem jaz še ne bi to delal, kar delam, vsako jutro, 3-krat na dan, telovadbo v postelji, ne bi nikoli hodil. Vi to ne veste.
Jaz tega nisem rekel, da ne.
Ja, hvala lepa. Ne, ste vse tiste vaja,
Pa tudi ničesar slabega.
boljše vaje ne bi mogel delati.
Pa tudi ničesar slabega vam ne želim. Lep dan
Ja,
želim.
ja, ne, želite, da bom delal.
Lep dan želim. Hvala lepa, nasvidenje.
Nasvidenje.
Thank you for watching this video. Till next time.